Signing of the Mayflower Compact aboard the ship. The Mayflower Compact is one of the most significant documents in American history, marking the birth of self-governance in the New World, signed by the Pilgrims and other passengers aboard the Mayflower. On November 11, 1620, this foundational document played a pivotal role in the creation of the Plymouth colony and laid the groundwork for democratic principles that would later shape the United States. Here's an in-depth exploration of the circumstances, provisions, and historical importance of the Mayflower Compact. 1. Date, location, and circumstances. The Mayflower Compact was signed on November 11, 1620, Old Style, November 21, 1620, New Style. The signing took place aboard the Mayflower, anchored in Provincetown Harbor at the tip of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. At this point, the Pilgrims and the other passengers aboard the ship had not yet set foot on land in the New World. They were still on the ship, and it was within this context that the compact was drafted and signed. Circumstances leading to the signing. The Mayflower's original destination had been near the Hudson River, within the jurisdiction of the Virginia Company. However, storms and navigational errors led them to Cape Cod, far north of their intended landing site. This unplanned arrival placed the settlers in a legal and political vacuum, as they were now outside the bounds of their original patent, which granted them authority over the land in the Virginia colony. In this uncertain environment, tensions arose between the Pilgrims, who were religious separatists, and the strangers, or non-separatists, who were also on the ship. Some of the non-separatists questioned the authority of the Pilgrims, arguing that since they were outside the original charter's boundaries, they were not obligated to follow any established rules or governance. To prevent potential disorder and ensure unity, the adult male passengers aboard the Mayflower came together to sign the Mayflower Compact, a document that would establish a foundation for self-government. 2. The content and language of the Mayflower Compact. The Mayflower Compact is a short but powerful document. It uses formal language, invoking both religious and royal authority, to unite the passengers and create a framework for governance. The commonly accepted version of the Mayflower Compact is as follows. In the name of God, Amen. We whose names are underwritten, the loyal subjects of our dread sovereign Lord King James, by the grace of God of Great Britain, France, and Ireland King, Defender of the Faith, etc., having undertaken for the glory of God, and advancement of the Christian faith and honor of our King and country, a voyage to plant the first colony in the northern parts of Virginia, do by these presents solemnly and mutually in the presence of God and one of another covenant and combine ourselves together in a civil body politic, for our better ordering and preservation and furtherance of the ends aforesaid, and by virtue hereof to enact, constitute, and frame such just and equal laws, ordinances, acts, constitutions, and offices from time to time, as shall be thought most meet and convenient for the general good of the colony, unto which we promise all due submission and obedience, in witness whereof we have hereunder subscribed our names at Cape Cod the 11th of November in the year of the reign of our sovereign Lord King James of England, France, and Ireland, the 18th, and of Scotland the 54th. Anno Domini 1620. Key provisions. The Mayflower Compact laid the foundation for governance and social order within the colony. The key provisions include formation of a self-governing community, civil body politic. This was the central concept of the compact, where the settlers pledged to create and maintain a government by mutual consent, commitment to create and obey just and equal laws. This ensured that the laws enacted by the settlers would be fair and applicable to all members of the community. Laws to be made for the general good of the colony. The emphasis was on collective welfare, prioritizing the needs of the community over individual interests, mutual agreement and submission to the community's decisions. This provision reinforced unity and collective decision-making, with all signatories agreeing to abide by the established laws. 3. The signatories and drafters. A total of 41 adult men signed the Mayflower Compact, representing both the Pilgrims and the non-Pilgrims, strangers aboard the ship. This collective act of signing symbolized the commitment of the group to work together, regardless of their differing backgrounds. Notable signatories. Among the most notable signers were John Carver, the first governor of Plymouth Colony; William Bradford, future governor and the author of Plymouth Plantation, one of the most important historical accounts of the Pilgrims; Edward Winslow, a prominent Pilgrim leader and diplomat; William Brewster, a spiritual leader and elder of the Pilgrim community; Isaac Allerton, a key settler and business leader; Miles Standish, the military leader of the colony. Drafters of the Compact. The drafting of the Mayflower Compact is often attributed to William Brewster, who was a highly respected elder and preacher. William Bradford and John Carver, both influential Pilgrims, likely contributed to the document's final form, or immediate governance established. Upon signing the Mayflower Compact, the Pilgrims and non-Pilgrims established a self-governing body based on majority rule. The signatories agreed to elect their own leaders and create laws for the common good of the colony. This was a crucial step in ensuring order and unity within the group. John Carver, a leading figure in the Pilgrim community, was elected as the first governor shortly after the signing of the Compact. His leadership was instrumental in organizing the colony and guiding it through the challenges of establishing a new life in the New World. Regular meetings, or general assemblies, were held to discuss important matters and make decisions for the colony's welfare. Leaders were elected annually, and the principles of the Mayflower Compact were put into practice. 5. Primary source accounts and quotations. William Bradford, one of the signatories and later governor of Plymouth Colony, described the event in his Journal of Plymouth Plantation. He wrote, "This day, before we came to harbor, observing some not well affected to unity and concord, but gave some appearance of faction and difference, it was thought good there should be an association and agreement, that we should combine together in one body, and to submit to such government and governors as we should by common consent agree to make and choose, and set our hands to this that follows word for word as is here set down." Bradford's account emphasizes the importance of unity and agreement among the passengers, setting the stage for the democratic processes that would follow. 6. Historical significance. The Mayflower Compact is often regarded as the first framework for self-government in the American colonies. Its significance lies in the principles it established. Majority rule. Decisions would be made by the collective agreement of the settlers. Equality. The compact laid the groundwork for future democratic governance by stating that laws would be created for the common good of all. Rule of law, by creating just and equal laws. The Mayflower Compact helped ensure that the colony would be governed by law rather than by arbitrary authority. It is also considered an early example of a social contract, where government derives its authority from the consent of the governed. These principles would later influence colonial charters and the development of American democracy, including the drafting of the U.S. Constitution. 7. Summary table aspect details. Date: November 11, 1620, Old Style. November 21, 1620, New Style. Location: aboard the Mayflower, anchored in Provincetown Harbor, Cape Cod. Signatories: 41 adult men, Pilgrims and non-Pilgrims. Drafters: likely William Brewster, with input from William Bradford and John Carver. Purpose: to establish a self-governing community and maintain order outside legal jurisdiction. Key provisions: civil body politic, just and equal laws, majority rule, submission to community laws. Immediate action: election of John Carver as first governor. Historical significance: first framework for self-government in America. Precedent for later democratic governance. Conclusion: the Mayflower Compact was more than just a document. It was the foundation of democratic governance in the American colonies. Signed aboard the Mayflower in Provincetown Harbor on November 11, 1620. It united the Pilgrims and non-Pilgrims in a common cause, creating a self-governing body based on the principles of majority rule and the common good. The Compact's enduring legacy is seen in its influence on later democratic principles and the development of the United States.